Turkey trip. Lena had always wanted to visit Turkey. The vibrant culture, stunning landscapes, and rich history had drawn her in since she was a child. So, when she finally saved up enough money for the trip, she was ecstatic. She had planned everything meticulously, from the flights to the hotels and the itinerary. Everything seemed perfect, but she had no idea what was in store for her. Lena arrived in Istanbul late at night. She was tired, jet-lagged, and a bit overwhelmed by the hustle and bustle of the city. But as soon as she stepped out of the airport, she felt a sense of excitement rush through her. The warm air, the smell of spices and street food, and the sound of the call to prayer in the distance all made her feel alive. She took a taxi to her hotel in the historic Sultan Ahmed district. The streets were narrow, winding, and bustling with people, but the taxi driver navigated them with ease. Lena was amazed at the beauty of the city, with its stunning architecture and ancient ruins. Her hotel was a small, cozy boutique hotel with a rooftop terrace overlooking the Blue Mosque. She was welcomed by the friendly staff and quickly settled into her room. She had a few days to explore the city before her tour of the rest of Turkey began, so she decided to make the most of it. The next morning, Lena woke up early and headed to the Hagia Sophia. It's a beautiful, historic mosque. Lena was awed by the grandeur of the building and the beautiful mosaics that adorns its walls. As she was exploring, Lena noticed a man following her. At first, she thought it was a coincidence, but as she continued to move around the mosque, she realized that he was definitely following her. Lena tried to shake him off by moving to different sections of the mosque, but he remained persistent. Feeling uneasy, Lena decided to leave the mosque and head back to her hotel. She stepped out onto the street and was immediately surrounded by a group of men. They were rough-looking and intimidating, and Lena was terrified. One of the men grabbed her arm and started pulling her towards a nearby alleyway. Lena was in shock. She didn't know what to do, and she was sure that this was the end. But then, out of nowhere, a man appeared and started shouting at the attackers in Turkish. The attackers hesitated for a moment, and the man took the opportunity to grab Lena's hand and pull her away. He didn't say anything, but he led her through the winding streets of Istanbul until they reached a small cafe. Lena was still in shock, but the man reassured her that she was safe now. He introduced himself as Emre and explained that he had seen her being followed and decided to intervene. Lena was grateful for his help, and they struck up a conversation. Emre was a local, and he offered to show her around the city. Lena was hesitant at first, but she felt safe with Emre and decided to take him up on his offer. Over the next few days, Lena and Emre explored Istanbul together. They visited museums, ate at local restaurants, and even took a boat tour of the Bosphorus. Lena found herself falling for Emre, but she knew that she couldn't stay in Istanbul forever. The day before Lena was scheduled to leave Istanbul, Emre took her to a small bazaar in the old city. They wandered through the maze of stalls, admiring the beautiful rugs, spices, and ceramics. Lena was enchanted by the vibrant colors and exotic scents. But then, out of nowhere, a group of men appeared and started attacking Emre. Lena was frozen with fear. Lena watched in horror as the men surrounded Emre, kicking and punching him. She felt helpless, not knowing what to do. Her mind raced, trying to think of a way to help him. Suddenly, a group of Turkish police officers arrived on the scene, their sirens blaring. The attackers quickly dispersed, and the officers rushed to Emre's aid. They helped him to his feet and checked him over for injuries. Emre was bruised and battered, but he assured Lena that he was okay. The police took statements from both of them, and Lena described the men who had attacked Emre. After the incident, Lena couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. She realized that she had been naive to think that Turkey was a completely safe place for tourists. She was grateful for Emre's help and for the police officers who had intervened. The next day, Lena left Istanbul and started her tour of the rest of Turkey. She visited the beautiful beaches of Antalya, the fairy chimneys of Cappadocia, and the ancient ruins of Ephesus. But she couldn't shake off the memory of what had happened in Istanbul. One day, while she was hiking in the mountains near Antalya, Lena noticed a man following her. She recognized him as one of the attackers who had assaulted Emre. She panicked and started running. But the man was faster. He caught up with her and grabbed her arm. Lena was petrified. She didn't know what he wanted or what he was going to do to her. But then, out of nowhere, Emre appeared. He tackled the attacker and pinned him to the ground. The two men fought, but Emre emerged victorious. He helped Lena to her feet and explained that he had been keeping an eye on her since the incident in Istanbul. He had suspected that the attackers might try to find her again and had been following her discreetly. Lena was overwhelmed with emotions. She was grateful to Emre for saving her once again. But she was also angry and frustrated that she had to go through this in the first place. Emre suggested that they go to the police and report the incident, but Lena was hesitant. She didn't want to spend the rest of her trip dealing with police and legal issues. Emre understood her concerns and suggested that they leave Turkey together. He had a friend who owned a boat, and they could sail to Greece, where they could start a new life together. Lena was hesitant at first, but she realized that she had nothing left for her in Turkey. She had fallen in love with Emre, and the thought of leaving him was unbearable. She agreed to go with him. They spent the next few days preparing for their journey. They bought supplies, arranged for the boat, and said goodbye to their friends in Turkey. Lena was nervous but excited about their new adventure. On the day of their departure, Lena and Emre boarded the boat and set sail towards Greece. They spent the next few days at sea, navigating storms and rough waters. But they were together, and that was all that mattered. When they finally arrived in Greece, they started a new life together. They found work at a small restaurant and lived in a small apartment near the beach. Lena was happy, but she knew that they couldn't stay in Greece forever. One day, while they were walking on the beach, Emre proposed to her. Lena was overjoyed and accepted his proposal. They decided to move to the United States and start a new life there. As Lena sat in her restaurant, watching the customers enjoying their meals and chatting with Emre, she realized that everything had worked out for the best. She had taken a risk by going on a trip to Turkey, but it had led her to Emre, the love of her life. They had faced danger and uncertainty, but they had come out stronger on the other side. Lena knew that their adventure would always be a part of their story, but she was grateful for the life that they had built together. She smiled at Emre, feeling grateful for the journey that had led them to this moment, and knew that she had found her happily ever after. The end. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends and family. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.